Last week, we interviewed a representative from AnonOps, the hacker group that's leading Operation Payback. In response to corporations cutting off WikiLeaks, AnonOps launched DDoS attacks on the websites of MasterCard, Visa, and PayPal. Well, now AnonOps has moved on to a new WikiLeaks defense tactic known as Operation Leakspin, which involves encouraging supporters worldwide to search through leaked cables on the WikiLeaks site and publish summaries of ones that have been least exposed, labeling them so that they're hard to find by any authority seeking to squash it. But here comes another development. There's also a plan out there called Operation Leak Flood. It's being called the first fax DDoS, with targeted companies being inundated with faxes of the WikiLeaks documents. And the media is claiming that this is also the work of AnonOps. Well, I'm joined live now by another AnonOps representative to clear up what's really going on. Thank you so much for joining us. So can you tell us exactly what's going on here? Are you involved in both Operation Leakspin and Operation Leak Flood or not?
Yes. For one clarification, we're not representing the whole of AnonOps. We're representing specifically AnonOps. Think of it as a splinter cell of the collective, if you would. And also, yes, Operation Leak Flood isn't necessarily a full-blown operation. That's just more random harassment at the companies to let them know we're still watching them. Leakspin, however, is a big development within our group. We're looking to push a positive, legitimate way for people to support the effort without compromising themselves. Because we realize there's a lot of scaremongering going on with the DDoS attacks and whatnot. And not everybody is really looking for a destructive way to get the message out. We feel that AnonOps has been portrayed more as a novelty in the media. And between all the drama with WikiLeaks and Assange going out, there's a lot of important information being missed. And we're trying to draw attention to it.
Well, what's interesting to me is that it seems like now that you're changing your strategies, you're essentially asking people not just to surrender their computers, but you're asking them to become journalists of sorts. You're asking them to go find the cables that they think are getting the least attention, to summarize them, and to put labels on them. I heard that you told them to use labels like Bieber, perhaps, that would be misleading.
Well, using labels like Tea Party and Bieber, we're not necessarily advocating that as a strategy. That's just sort of what people do to draw attention to them. We're not telling people to do that. That's just how people on the internet work. However, we are asking the public to double check on our work. We're digging through the leaks, we're summarizing them, and we're wanting feedback from the public on our analysis of these things. Are there things that we missed? Is there more to the story? And we're trying to draw public attention to these things because, unfortunately, the media isn't covering them at all.
But so are these only members of AnonOps that are actually going through and choosing which cables to summarize, or are you asking people to volunteer? How would the average computer user, I guess, be involved if they wanted to be?
They can get involved if they wanted to be. Generally, we're asking people to mostly double check our work. However, we're not really a secret cloistered society here. We're easy people to contact. It's easy to get involved with what we're doing. And if somebody really did want to take a bigger part and start running through the analysis and the summaries, they could.
I want to ask, because last time that we spoke to a representative, we were discussing the legal repercussions, the possibility of it. And with the DDoS attacks, they're saying that there's really not as big of a chance. But now we have the U.S. government going after Julian Assange with what we're hearing might be a conspiracy charge, with trying, to influence somebody to release this type of information. Do you think that that in any way could apply to you, to this new strategy that you're using?
Well, hard to say. What we're doing already falls under provisions of the Patriot Act, so really, it can't really get any worse for us as far as that's concerned. But with Julian Assange, you bring up an interesting point here. Consider that the U.S. government has to dig through and pull up an old obscure law from the 1940s to really go after him. Because what WikiLeaks has done, not only is it protected under the First Amendment of the Constitution, but it's reinforced by prior precedents set up in the U.S. law. This is a similar case to the Sarah Palin emails, how the hacker himself was guilty, but the media themselves weren't guilty of releasing the information that was brought to them. this is a similar case. Nobody's trying to justify the actual, hacking or the theft of information that took place. However, once that information got to WikiLeaks, they were justified in releasing it. They could have done what they wanted with that. Any media organization could. And in failing to really find a legitimate way to go after WikiLeaks, this is what the U.S. government is resorting to. They're honestly trying to pin a tinfoil hat conspiracy on Assange, trying to link him into some big convoluted web of whatever they're saying is happening to hurt the U.S. government. And the irony is that most of these diplomatic cables actually don't speak all that ill of the U.S. government. If you look through them, a lot of the diplomats are doing exactly what they said that they're doing. And I don't see why the U.S. government would be embarrassed about that, unless there's something else to it.
Well, they're definitely doing everything they can to go after Assange. Thank you so much again for joining us and helping to explain what it is that you're up to. Thanks.